Welcome back, guys. On today's episode, we're joined by the incredible Carla Molinaro, an elite runner and a world record holder for running the length of the UK in just 12 days, which is just ridiculous and epic. Carla became the 50k world champion in 2023. She's podiumed at the legendary Comrades marathon. She's taken third at the Two Oceans marathon, and that's just to name a few of the amazing moments in her running career. She's also the founder of SEY, which is a strength and conditioning and yoga for runners program, something that we can't wait to dive into because we know so many of our listeners will find it really valuable. So, Carla, thanks so much for joining us. We're very excited to have this chat. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, I think this will be a great episode. We've got a lot of hybrid athletes that listen to our podcast, and you're obviously an incredible runner. A lot of hybrid athletes are now getting the running bug and trying to do marathons, ultra marathons, etc. in the off season. Maybe we know who you are, but maybe for anyone that doesn't know who you are, would you just give us a little insight into your kind of running journey and where it started? It's probably a very hard thing to ask to condense it into an answer, but have you always been a runner from a young child?
Yeah, I started running like back at school. And yeah, I kind of started like 800, 1500 cross country, that type of thing. Yeah, when I was like, I don't know, 14, 15. And kind of was in the UK club running scene. Back then it was, I guess, like a little bit more rigid than it is now. You kind of went to the track Tuesday, Thursday, you did like your runs on the weekend, and yeah, it was really like a really fun environment to be in. And I guess I was like a good club runner, but nothing special. I then went to university, and I wanted to still run, and I walked into the athletic stadium at Cardiff Uni, and everyone was just in GB kit, and I was like, absolutely not. No, I am out. This is way too intimidating. And went and joined the triathlon club. So then at uni, I then started doing triathlon. I did that for 10 years. And then one day I actually entered the Glasgow half marathon and just loved how easy it was to like just put running shoes on and run and not like mess around with like bikes and wetsuits and jumping off and jumping on. And I was like, oh, and I've got so much more time left with my day. So pretty much from that moment of doing that Glasgow half, that was in 2014, I swapped back to just being a runner. But also that's when I guess I started also taking strength and conditioning a little bit more seriously. I'd done like a sports science degree, but then when I was in Cardiff, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I went and did my personal training and strength qualifications, started to build strength into my program. And actually my running kind of went off on a little bit of a diversion. I started doing marathons, but then also a lot of like multi-day fast packing. So with a backpack, and would run from London to Brighton and London to Paris and around Mont Blanc, and just on these random adventures. And in 2018, I came to South Africa to do one where our plan was to try and run from Cape Town to Comrades, doing 90 kilometers a day. And then on the last day, we were going to do the race. We all got injured at some point, and so then I was like, I'm just going to see how far I can run in the next 20 days. Did 900 Ks, did the race, ended up coming ninth. Still to this day, I've got no idea how. And then after that, someone was like, from Team GB, messaged me like, do you want to race for Great Britain at the 100K World Champs? I'm like, are you on drugs? Like, sure. So I was like,
Why not?
yeah, right, that sounds cool. So I guess I kind of went and raced for GB at the 100K World Champs. So it was like, I guess my journey to get to like that level of sport has been a little bit random. I've always had that like underlying foundation of I've always done sport, but it's never been like gunning for doing as best as I can. It's kind of like happened by accident. And what's really cool is I came into it like in my late 30s, where most people have told you, now you're too old by the time you get to that age to do anything, which you're just not. So yeah, that's kind of my running journey. And now I am a full-time runner, based in Cape Town, South Africa. It's the whistle stop.
Yeah, but you don't have a specific distance. Am I right? You still kind of like doing a bit of 50k, a bit of 100k. I think, did you just say that you're about to do an 100 miler? Like,
yeah, so still I just do stuff that I think's cool. So yeah, I've done the 50k world champs, I've done the 100k world champs, I'm doing the 100 miler, and then literally last week they announced that the next trail world championships are going to be in Cape Town in 2027. So I'm like,
wow.
sick. So that's now my new stupid idea to see. I mean, Cape Town running, it's so technical and it's going to be really difficult to make the team, but it would be quite cool to have made like a 50k, 100k and trail team if I can. So that's just that.
What's the distance for the trail? The trail, is
They're all
it
different. They normally will have like an uphill 20k, a downhill 20k, a marathon-ish, and an ultra. So there's normally
wow.
four or five races.
Okay, cool. And would you go for the marathon distance?
Probably the ultra. I've probably
The
got more
ultra.
chance like
Fair.
is.
Yeah.
I can
I'd
just
like
run all
the
day.
downhill one, sounds good. Start
Yeah,
at the top,
no
go down.
chance. Have you
I
seen
mean,
some trail runners run
uh
downhill?
yeah, I once, like, funnily, like, did a triathlon camp in the lakes, and I was like, oh, the swim was all right, and I was like, I was quite good at biking, so I was like, the bike was fine, and then on the run I worked so hard to stay with them to the top. I was so pleased with myself, and I got to the top, I didn't even think about getting down, and I
No.
got to the top, I was like, I'll be fine, and then they all ran down, and I was like, that was me. I was left on my own for like the next 4 hours. Just unreal pace
Some of
carrying it
those
down.
chicks can throw themselves down a hill like that.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Oh,
But
God.
bringing it back anyway, away from the trail running and stuff. I guess the one thing that stood out to me just then when you were talking about your journey and like to where you are now is probably just the passion you have for what you do. Like, you obviously love running, you love being outside, you love running different distances, you like to challenge yourself, and it's the fact that you love the process that probably brought you to where you are now, would you say, rather than chasing a medal, chasing a team bib,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah, my
just
mum like always says like she's like, oh yeah, shame, like you always used to come last, but like I'd never care. Like I'm always like, it doesn't matter to me. Like as long as I've like tried hard and had fun and it's been, like I like the races that like push your boundaries and test you. And as long as I've, yeah, like tried my hardest, I like doing different things, and wherever you end up coming is like cool. I think that's fun. And yeah, I just exactly that. I love being outside. I love sport. I love the people that I get to run with. And that is really like the main thing for me. It never I mean, occasionally you have the run where you're like, kill me now. This is awful. I actually had one of those on Monday, but they're so few and far between that you just like, okay, just get that one done. And you've got to enjoy what you do. I think there's so many different options of sports, and even within running, you've got track and trail and fell and mountain and road. And so if you don't like one of them, like go and try one of the others. There's loads of different ways you can do things.
yeah, so true. And I mean, you're running at an incredible speed when you are running a marathon, 50k, 90k, even probably 100 miles. How do you, like, I guess mentally, like the journey from doing maybe the half marathon in Glasgow, like how do you then think, okay, I'm gonna train for the marathon, or I'm gonna train for an ultra, or I'm gonna train for 100 miles? Like if someone was listening now thinking, oh, I've only ever run 5k, or I've only done a high rocks and that's got 8k in it, but maybe I could do a half marathon, how do you get
get there.
yourself to the next
Yeah.
step? Yeah.
I guess I have actually like gone up through all of the distances, like gradually, and like built one on top of the other. And I think sometimes people like jump in and they're like, oh, I've done a 20k trail. The next thing I'm going to do is a 100 miler. I'm like, you're an absolute maniac. But yeah, I've kind of gone through all the distances. But even now, I'm doing my first 100-mile race in October. Like it scares the life out of me. I'm like, I've never run that far in one go. I've never done the training for 100 mile. I've coached loads of people to it, and I know what you have to do, and I know the process works, but it is always going to be scary jumping up to a distance that you haven't done before. However, you know, if you've got a coach or you've got a program that's going to give you like that progression and build you up, and you do it over like a sensible period of time, like you're going to be able to do it. And a lot of it is that the mindset behind it. Like I know, like in this 100 miler, there's probably going to be 3 or 4 times in the race where I'm going to hate my life. I'm going to wish someone could like take me out with a bow and arrow or a meteor or something. But you kind of also know that you're going to come out the other side. So it's just, I guess, trusting the process a little bit and like trusting yourself, but also being realistic, you know, going and doing high rocks where you've got 8K. If you're then going to go and be like, I'm going to do 100K, well, you probably can do it, but it might not be that fun. So let's just build through it, because by adding like piece on piece on piece, you're just getting stronger. All of that training, like for each block, like adds on to the previous one and makes you stronger and gives you like that, I guess, the mental capacity to be like, well, I know I can do it. So yeah, it's just being sensible and building it up.
Yeah, totally. And then you talk about the mental game. Can we like just step back a little bit to the Land's End John O'Groats? Because I feel like 12 days of, I know you've just said, oh, 100 miles scare you, but I think if anyone was looking, you'd be like, well, you've just run the length of Great Britain in 12 days. So how hard can like 100 miles be? How firstly, the mental capacity to get up every day after like just a few hours sleep and keep moving through that, versus then also taking that into the other races you've done, and then maybe into the 100 miler. Could you talk a bit about like mental strength for doing a race
like my coach says exactly the same thing. He's like, well, you've run 12 days in a row, like you've done 100 miles. I'm like, well, I probably have in a 24-hour period. To be honest, like, yeah, a lot of people say, was it hard getting up every day and running Land's End John O'Groats? Yes and no. Like it hurt and it was painful, but actually I wasn't, one, I didn't have anything else to do. It was during COVID. It was when the world had just like opened back up. So no one had a job. No one had anything to do. I literally had nowhere else to be. And we just magically found this little window of time. And also I had a massive support crew with me. And I'm like, well, if I don't get up and run, they've also got nothing to do. So it was actually quite easy to motivate myself to get out, because yeah, it gave us something to do for 12 days. It hurt and it was, you know, a little bit emotional at times, but
and because that was 70 miles a day, was it you were covering?
Like, 110K, like 70 miles, I think it
back to back, epic. And did you have days like the mindset with that? I know you're saying you didn't have much else to do, but there must have been days where you were like, you were hurting, you know, pain as in you had, was it shin pain?
Like it's weird. You get, it hurts and it's painful, but for me, I'm like, well, I've brought this on myself. So kind of, I knew it was sore, but you also know like, okay, in like 4 days, I'm gonna be able to stop. So it, you know, with all of these races, like all of these things hurt, like high rocks hurts, like it's so painful, but you're like, actually, I can see the last station's over there. So I just have to keep my shit together for a little bit longer and then it's fine. And I think the fact with the jog, because I was going for the world record and I was quite under it because I'd given myself a massive buffer, it was one of those like, well, I know I'm going to do it. So it never got like really close to the line, but that was just down to the planning. I think maybe if I'd gone like over the time and I wasn't going to make it, I don't know if my head might have gone a little bit. It might have done, but that's also why you always have like your kind of like ABC goals. So if one goes to shit, you've got like 2 other things you can focus on, so you don't like completely give up. Because that is the hard thing. Like it is very easy just to be like, oh well, haven't got that goal. might as well.
Especially in the heat of the moment, maybe you've not slept, you're
Yeah.
not, you're trying to eat, you're in pain, it's raining, it's windy, it's dark. You need something to get you over that line, don't you?
But I'm just a bit of a psycho as well. Like, so like that, my dad came to watch one day and I heard him being like, why is she doing this? Like, she's gonna fail. And I was like, I'll show you I'm not gonna fail. So like stuff like that motivates me. Like there was another girl that was helping with it, that was like, keep on going, you're doing great. Like that motivation just doesn't work for me. I'm like, you're annoying. Like, just tell me like, you look a bit shit, and you're like, all right, come on then. And I think that's it. It's finding like what motivates you and what doesn't. And like if you've got people supporting you or cheering for you, like getting them to make you like a sign that's a little bit on the edge, or some people do want to be like, look, you look great, you can do this. And it doesn't matter where you are, but it's also finding that and letting, if you're doing long things like this, letting your support crew know this is how to motivate me to keep on going, or don't do this because it's irritating.
Yeah, really good point. Really good point. I want to know what would you say is harder, doing like 12 days back to back of Land's End to John O'Groats, or like racing Comrades or the 50k world champs, where you're at such a high
Like
level of intensity, for such a long time. I mean, hours. You did 50k in 3 hours 18 minutes. I don't even know what average pace that is, but it's bloody fast. Like, what's hard, what hurts more, or what's harder?
Yeah, they're very different. Yeah, like doing like Comrades, which is like a 90k race in South Africa. You like on the rivet all day. It's really hard. Like you have to concentrate a lot. You're running at your threshold. Land's End to John O'Groats, like you're running a lot slower, so it's a lot easier. But everything hurts because you're doing it like again and again. So I guess they're just really, really different. The 50k World Champs was a really weird one for me, where it was actually a very easy, let's use that term loosely, race, because I trained to run at 3:45 per K, and then everyone went out a lot slower at 4 minutes a K. So actually, for the majority of that race, I was like running within myself. Like I went off and no one came with me. So I was like, oh, well, fuck this. Like I'm jogging and running with the other girls. So I let them run at the front and played like probably quite a tactical game and just sat in until everyone like dropped off, that was a really weird race. I was like, this should be hurting more than it
was.
Is. But I guess a lot of the training had hurt a lot. So you're like, training had been so hard and you had worked so hard in training. So it was actually quite nice to come into a race and it be like plain sailing. They're all, I guess everything hurts in different kinds of ways. They're all very different and like rewarding in different ways as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I've had like some races or played some games like in sport where you felt like really good and you felt like you found the flow. So I'm guessing that 50k race, you must have just been like, this is me. Did you know from the beginning that was going to be your race? Because sometimes you just go into a race.
I had this weird feeling. I was like, that it would be, but I don't even know how many races I've done in my life, like hundreds, and that's the only time I've ever felt like that. So
that's crazy
to get to get one race that's so perfect like that is like, it's very cool. You're like, okay, cool, it's out there. It's a weird feeling. And then I'm like running, I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna win this race. And then you're like, Carla, get back in your box. You're like, not yet. Like you're like having to knock these thoughts out of your head, and you're like, just chill, like don't get cocky yet.
It's cool. Controlling it all, isn't it? Like, and I guess the whole race, it's for a long time. It's like mind games the whole way, and trying to trust that. Yeah, maybe if you're not on your set plan, I guess it's a good lesson that you have to be able to adapt your race plans, and tactically that can pay off for you because you trusted the process to hold back a bit, and
Yeah, which is weird because you're like, I should be running quicker, and then you're
Yeah.
like, it's chill. You're
Yeah,
like,
you
okay.
don't need to. And I guess you raised a good point as well about training being harder. And a lot of times, yeah, we've spoke to a lot of people on the podcast, and everyone does say like sometimes the training and certain training sessions have been so hard that actually when they've got to the race has been easier than when they look back at that training session. Like you just said, on Monday it sucked, but you got through it. And how does that add to the mental capacity to when you're racing, knowing that you've done some of these tough training sessions?
Oh, yeah, like massively. Yeah, you think like we had a session last week where we had to do 6K, 4K, 3K, 2K. Before the session, all of us were like, oh my God, we're going to die. Like, how are we going to do this session? And then everyone did it and nailed it. And then we went and did a race on the weekend and everyone did really well. And we were like, oh yeah, because it wasn't as hard as that session last week. So like just having that like in your head, that remembering that feeling of all lying on the grass wanting to die at the end, like just brings it back that you can do hard stuff. But I think that's sometimes why I prefer training to racing. Like I love that feeling of being like finishing a session and being broken.
Yeah, and you talk a lot actually about in South Africa you've got a really good group. So like touching on that, is that did you used to race did you used to train alone a lot, and now you found a group, and it's like obviously helped you out with your running and maybe mentality and maybe even hitting a session like that, because doing it in a group usually is a lot more preferable to hit a horrible session.
Yeah, training in a group has been like game changing for me. I did used to run with like a club back in the UK, but it was very different. You kind of would go to the club session, you do the session, you leave. Like here, we all tend to do the sessions in the morning. So it's about, it's a few things. It's every single morning I get to like run with my friends. So you get up, you go see your mates, like you talk shit, you do the session, you moan about how hard it was. But then you're like, cool, I didn't die. You all push each other. Like we're quite spread out, but like the fast guys, we want to catch the fast guys. The fast guys don't want us to catch them. The guys who are a little bit slower at the back can see like the improvements in their training, like week on week, they're closing those gaps and getting a little bit closer. I mainly train with guys. I'd like to train with more girls, but I mainly train with guys, which is also very irritating because they join the group and they're like 25 and I'm like, oh God, they're going to end up beating me, which is annoying. But I'm like to them, you should be quicker than me.
Yeah.
And then we like, yeah, do the sessions and then all sit and have a coffee and stuff afterwards. And I think it's all of that together, like pushing yourselves, the banter, the talking shit afterwards. Like if you had a good session, being like, this is why it's good. If someone had a bad session, you're like, well, it's fine. Like, why was it bad? Oh, I'm studying for an exam. I was up late. And you can like rationalize it with each other and kind of talk it through. And I think if you can find people to train with, just do it. And a lot of people say to me, oh, but I don't have anyone to train with. I'm like, I've made this group myself just by you put it out there. Who wants to come training? Like you get one person, then the next time after about a month, someone else comes. And we're always adding new people to the group, but you do have to graft a little bit. And it's hard work keeping the group going. Like every day I post in the group, 6 o'clock, we're meeting at this coffee shop, and sometimes people turn up and sometimes they don't. But you know, I know it's beneficial for me to do that. So I'm like, okay, come on. We'll train, we'll train together. And it makes everyone better.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a really good point. And like you say, sometimes people show, sometimes you don't have as many people, but you keep going, consistency, and you're all turning up there and keep training. So yeah, absolutely. Do you have any other, I'm conscious that people would be like, oh, how does she run so fast? Like, how does she get there? Do you have any tips for someone that's trying to improve on their speed specifically? And then also maybe touching on the strength side of things as well.
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing is just being consistent. It is just doing the sessions week in, week out. It all adds up together. And I often see that with a lot of people, you won't really see any progress. You'll just kind of be ticking along, and then you kind of make quite a big jump, and then you move up to that. It's like Super Mario Brothers. You kind of like move up levels.
Move up a level.
Certainly with me, it's like every couple of years. So like I actually have been on the same level for a couple of years, and I feel like, I don't know why, but I've just had a little bit of a jump up again now, which is quite nice. But it's taking your time. I think a lot of people, everything now, and it does my head in sometimes, it's like, use this magic potion for like this quick fix and like this magic solution, and you can get better in like 2 days. And it's like, well, you can't. Like, you've got to put in the work. This is why you've got to enjoy the process, and you've got to enjoy what you're doing and the graft. Like, I like that side of it, but it takes time. Some sessions are going to be good. Some sessions are going to be hard. If you want to get faster, you need to do the speed work. You need to put the work in. You can't just go and do easy runs all the time. You're never going to put your body under enough stress to see the benefits. And I would say with like everyone doing high rocks, you kind of need to look at your week and be like, divide the event up into what are the different percentages you need for different things. So I don't know, let's say running is 40% and the rest is 60%, then it's looking at your week as a whole and figuring out when you can fit everything in. So if you can only fit in, well, not only 3 runs a week, for example, one's probably an easy run, one's probably a really short, sharp session, like minute on, minute off, 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off, that type of thing. And one's probably like a more longer tempo-y run, like 4 minutes on, 2 minutes jog, easy. But it's using your week cleverly to make sure you're getting the key sessions in with enough stress on your body to get the benefits, but then you also need the rest and you need to take the time. And I see it a little bit with like CrossFit and some of the high rock stuff. Like a lot of it is very high intensity, but you also need to do those like controlled movements as well, because, you know, like your Olympic lifting, like it makes you strong and it makes you quick, even though it's boring and you can do like, I don't know, 1 Olympic lift and you have to wait for 2 minutes for your body to recover in between it. You need that. Like not everything can be 1,000 miles an hour. And I think sometimes slowing things down a little bit so you can end up going quicker is what you need to do. But just take your time and prioritize eating and sleeping and recovery.
Yeah, definitely. And your strength program, I mean, I know you've got a lot of runners into it, and to get runners into strength is quite a big thing, because a lot of runners don't like doing strength. And the same with like high rocks, we've seen a lot of strength athletes that are now trying to get into running. So there is quite a good crossover. What's the importance and what's the benefit that you've seen with doing the strength for your running? How does that?
Just being strong, like it just stops you getting injured, like, and it makes you faster, like both of those things. So since I started like my SCY program 5 years ago, I had 1 injury earlier this year, and that was due to like a dodgy pair of shoes. Apart from that, I haven't been injured. I've obviously had little niggles that you can kind of fix, but it makes you, like, doing strength just makes you really resilient, especially when you're running, everything's in one plane of motion. You start doing strength where you're hopping and bounding and moving in slightly different ways. You can also feel like weaknesses in your body. Like this month I've been doing like a single leg squat, and I noticed that my left leg was a little bit weaker than my right, and which showed up pretty quickly, which I then focused on in strength. And now like 3 weeks later, they're equal. So you can also, by doing a lot of strength, you can get those adaptations in your body like really quickly. If you don't do strength all the time, if you had got to the point where you probably got an injury because of like a leg discrepancy in strength, you've then gone to the physio, they've then given you the exercises. It takes a lot longer for your body to kind of like make the adaptations. Whereas if you're doing it all the time, it's quicker. And to be honest, like I would rather do strength on my own terms and go twice a week when I want to go than you've got injured and the physio's like, right, you now have to go every day. You're like, well, I don't want to go every day. It's like, well, you want to run, well, then you need to go every day. It's one of those things that do it because you want to, not because you have to. When you get into the swing of it, like, it doesn't have to be like so hard. I think people get worried because they think, oh my God, I'm going to be so tired from strength that I'm going to be dying on the floor in a ball of sweat, because they used to like those HIIT workouts. I'm like, that's not what strength and conditioning is about. It's about standing on one leg and doing something slowly and controlled without going a million miles an hour. But yeah, that's, I'm trying to like, I'm preaching to the converted, but I'm like, just do your strength, runners.
Yeah. No, I do think it's really important, and like the injury prevention for sure, because I think that seems to be, there's quite a lot popping up where people have obviously tried to increase their mileage quite quickly because they've suddenly got into running, and then it's off season and it's like, oh, I want to run a marathon now, and then it kind of like has this knock-on effect. So yeah, I think it's a really important thing to touch on. Is there you mentioned also about fueling and recovery a little bit earlier. We are all in the same boat that we obviously love cake, and part of us watching your Instagram is to see all of the cake reviews on the lemon meringues and make us want to come out to South Africa. But do you mind speaking a little bit about like the importance of fueling, and especially for female athletes, and any advice you have?
Yeah, like fueling to me is like the biggest and easiest win. Like, you literally don't have to train harder, but if you fuel yourself properly, you're going to be able to run quicker, you're going to be able to run for longer, you're going to recover properly. And that's making sure that, you know, before, during, and after sessions, you're getting like the right amount of carbs in before and during, and then your carbs and proteins afterwards to aid with recovery. And I think, yeah, it's just not being scared of food, like as a fuel. I think, like, I don't know, like in our minds, sometimes, I don't even know how to say this, but sometimes people think, oh, the thinner you are and the skinnier you are, and you have to eat like healthy and that all the time to be an athlete. And I'm like, yes, like the majority of your diet, you want to have like loads of fruit and veg and carbs, and but why can't you have like burgers and cake? And like, I love food, like I love the taste of good food. I like going out and eating with my friends. For me, it's like a massive social thing, and it's something that I really enjoy. And yeah, you don't have to be like a stick to be able to run well. It's actually not healthy. And I like it that women's like body shapes are changing slightly in sport, which I think's really cool. And I think it is down to like fueling properly for the work that you're doing. Like, you're putting your body under like a lot of stress, and if you're not fueling it properly, like, you're just putting yourself at a massive disadvantage. You know, like people say like, oh, I'm going to go and do a fasted set. I'm not going to have breakfast. I'm going to do a fasted session because I'm then going to become fat adapted. I'm like, well, you're literally a moron. Like, the most efficient fuel your body can use is carbohydrate. So like, stop making your life difficult. Eat carbs while you're running, and you're going to be able to run faster for longer at a higher intensity. And I like, even with high rocks, like, you're at a super high intensity and you might think, oh, I don't need to fuel the session that I'm doing because it's only like an hour, but you're on your threshold. So by having a gel halfway through that session, or 2 gels halfway through your race, like, it's probably going to put you like at a benefit to everyone else, because you've got that little bit more energy to burn through. So yeah, getting that in and like prioritizing, like, as soon as you finish, like, it doesn't have to be complicated either. Like, a hot chocolate after a run or a chocolate milk is one of the best recovery things you can have. It's got to mix the right ratio of fat, carbohydrate, and protein. You can get it from anywhere, the petrol station, the coffee shop. Don't have to go and spend a fortune on like fancy proteins and potions. So yeah, when people are like, oh, but I can't get anything in, I'm like, well, you can. Just walk to the corner shop, get a hot chocolate.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, just Yeah, I love food, but so for me it's easy. Like I enjoy it. Like it's weird. Like when I talk to my mum, she's like, "Oh, I just eat to survive." I'm like, "Oh my God, that's so boring."
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is probably why we relate so much and we love watching your Instagram is definitely you're one of our favorite people to follow. And I think anybody that likes to, yeah, likes good food and likes to train hard, like your Instagram is definitely the best place to be because you
Yeah,
do both and it shows a very balanced view, which I think Instagram sometimes and social media, especially for females and young females, can be quite a scary place because people are like, oh, I went and did my, my session and I had some water and a boiled sweet or something, and they don't show like properly how to fuel, recover, like what to eat to get the most out of your sessions. And I noticed when you started to talk about eating a bit more and fueling a bit more, you started to add in a smoothie as well. You
mm,
started to add smoothies into the day because you needed like more
yeah.
calories. I guess you needed more fuel. What were you putting in your smoothie? What
In
like
smoothies, I put
carbs did you?
like banana, mango, berries. I do put a protein powder in that, water, peanut butter.
Yeah, just to get like that extra because sometimes people don't feel like eating, do they? I know a lot
Yeah,
of the time you finish a hard session, it is quite hard to get
it
food
is.
in.
Yeah, but that's where like a smoothie, chocolate milk, something like that. Just get that in straight away, and then you can eat it properly like an hour later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, then do your actual meal. And then
Yeah.
do you have, people always like ask us for kind of like ideas, like kind of breakfast or pre-run, or
Mm,
I mean, a lot of people are getting up extremely early and to try and squeeze everything in and do their training before they got to take the kids to school or whatever it is. Like anything quick that someone could get in them. Do you have any suggestions before they went out to do a run?
yeah, I kind of alternate either between like oats with berries or like toast with just jam or
Yeah.
peanut butter and honey. And I kind of just alternate the days. It's weird. Like I like variety, but for breakfast, I can just eat the same thing every day. I think because I literally just get up, I don't have to think. I have all I need is like 2 cups of tea minimum, and then yeah, like toast and oats. But it's about doing whatever's like easy for you. Actually, this morning for breakfast, I'd made some oat cookies earlier in the week. If you want the recipe, I can give it to you. It's like super easy, but they're great because it's like oats, raisins, coconut flour. So I just had like 2 of those with tea this morning because we were doing 60 minutes easy. I couldn't be bothered to get out of bed. So it took a little bit longer. So I was like, well, I'm just going to grab that, have those. That's decent to like get me through a 60-minute easy run. And then I came back and had a bagel. So yeah, don't overthink it. So like, yeah, like a oat bar, something like that. Even, an energy gel, like they're disgusting, but they like do a job. Like if you really can't stomach something and time really is short, just crack one of them. You're going to have like 30-ish grams of carbohydrates in it. It seriously is better than nothing. Ideally, we want a little bit of protein and just to like kickstart everything to start the day and the majority of carbohydrates. But yeah, making something that is easy, like toast for me is easy. It takes 2 minutes. It's easy.
Yeah,
Easy.
Yeah.
Toast,
100%.
bagel, oats, cookie, bar. There's loads of things.
Yeah. No,
And
that sounds.
what's your favorite cake, Carla?
My favorite cake is birthday cake. So there's a place here that makes what it's basically like just like a basic vanilla sponge with hundreds and thousands sprinkles and glitter and a cherry on the top.
And glitter. Yeah, it has to be something with glitter.
Such a child, it's really good.
Oh, that's so good. And do you
But
take any? Oh, go on, Em. I was going to
no,
say
no.
any supplements as a like specifically for a female. Do you take iron or anything as a female runner or anything like that?
Yeah, I take iron like twice a week.
Hmm.
Not every day because it messes with my stomach. So just like an iron supplement twice a week. I take an omega-3. I mean, I say this, I've got them all there. I forget probably 5 days out of 10. Like an omega, a multivitamin, And in the winter, I take vitamin D.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I actually took them yesterday. I was like, oh shit. I even got like one of those little pill thingies that like an 80-year-old has got to like remind them to have it. And then
Forgot.
I'd see it there and I'm like, oh, can't be bothered. Especially like the Omega ones are so big and I just don't like
That's
taking
like...
them.
Yeah, that's like me. I don't
Yeah.
like them. I know I should. I do
Yeah.
sometimes. I've got to be in the mood. It's definitely
Yeah,
not the
same.
way that you should take supplements, but
To be
and
honest,
then,
I don't think you need to take supplements bar vitamin D. I think like most people, especially if you're living in like the Northern Hemisphere in the UK, like there's not enough sunlight. So I do think that is a really important one. All the rest, if you've got a nice balanced diet, you can get it in through your food. So that's why I'm probably not as rigid with it, because I know that I'm eating fish twice a week. I try and eat red meat 3 times a week. I'm eating loads of veg. So I'm like, oh, if I don't
Yeah.
take it, it's not really the end of the world. And I do try and get blood tests like a couple of times a year just to check everything's fine.
yeah, no, that's a good point. And then we've touched on this before previously. I mean, a little while ago in the podcast, but I think I saw you put a post up the other day about like easy runs being easy and hard sessions being hard. And I wondered if maybe just you could give your take on it, especially as such an incredible elite runner who runs at mega paces. Like we've often spoken to people about kind of trying to say that maybe their easy runs aren't so easy because they're going at quite a fast speed, especially when they're not running 50k at 3:45. So could you give your take on that?
Yeah, this is like my favorite thing. I actually wrote a program for this guy the other day and I was looking at his easy runs and they were like 4 minutes 20 per K. So I don't know what that is in miles, like 7-minute miling. And I'm like, that's not easy. He's like, no, it is. It is easy. If I go slower, it hurts. I'm like, well,
Oh, such
that I'm like, well, you're talking shit because your easy run is it's like a minute per kilometer quicker than my easy run. And your marathon time is an hour slower than mine. So I'm like, either you're not trying hard enough in your marathon, which it could be, like some people do fall into that camp, or you're lying. So I'm like, you can pick one.
Yeah,
And
pick one.
like so many people do their easy runs way too fast. There is a balance because obviously if you're only running 3 times a week, you're probably doing one easy run, one medium paced run, one fast run. So they're not all going to be easy because you're not going to get any training adaptations. For me, I'm running 10 times a week. So 7 of my runs are easy, 2 are fast, 1's medium. So it depends kind of where you are, but those easy ones, they do really need to be easy. If you're pushing it and going too hard, you're just, every time you're just getting your spade out and you're digging your hole a little bit deeper. And eventually you're going to break. It's either you're going to be exhausted and you're going to hate it. You're just going to be like, I hate running. I'm too tired. I'm not going to carry on. Or you're going to get injured because you're just not going slow. Like this one guy was like, oh, it hurts to go slow. And I'm like, well, it doesn't. And then he told me that I'd injured him because I was making him run slower and he was using more muscles. I'm like, if anything, running slower, you're using your muscles less. But
I also do get, I like personally, I think if you're working really hard in the other sessions, the slower runs are more enjoyable. So I don't,
exactly. I'm
yeah,
like, I get to an easy
don't know.
run. I don't want to run fast because I'm
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah.
You look forward to those easy, like the
Yeah.
easy runs are the nice part of the training week, where the other ones, you know, you're going to have to really dig in.
And it's about like, if you really can't run easy or you don't know how to do it or what easy should feel like, you should be able to have a full on conversation with someone the whole time. You should be able to talk the whole time without having to catch your breath. If you're like having to catch your breath, if you can only, if you've only got the inclination to say like 1 or 2 words, you're going too quick. So just dial it back a little bit. So either find a running club to go and run with, there's loads of like running crews and stuff now that are doing easier runs. Find someone at one of those, or just until you know how to do it, like maybe take your phone in your pocket and phone someone and just have a chat on the phone, like phone your mum, phone your dad, and have a chat so you can see what that actually feels like. And I never look at pace on my watch when I'm doing my easy runs because I don't care. But you know, in the beginning, it might be useful. So go on that phone call, have that chat, talk away, and be like, okay, it's roughly 10-minute miling that I'm doing, 6 minutes per K. So that's roughly the ballpark I need to go into. And if you're then starting to creep and go a little bit quicker, you can rein yourself in a little bit. And we noticed it, like we're doing these ridiculous 4-hour runs at the moment. So 2 weeks ago, we went and did it at like 4:30 a K. And by the end of the run, we could talk to each other, but like no one really wanted to because we were going a little bit too quick. This weekend, we went and did exactly the same run, but 20 seconds per K slower. And we literally spoke from the start of the run to the end of the run, like the whole time, just chatted shit for the whole thing because you could. So I think that is a really good test. If you're like, oh God, stop talking to me, you're going too quick. Like,
yeah. Or you've just been with someone for way too long, because 4 hours is a long time to listen to someone chat. Pick your crew better.
You can also, you know, like if you find a group and you're like, actually, they're a little bit too quick for me for an easy run, then use that as like your tempo-y moderate effort run in the week and do your easy run on your own.
Yeah.
Like you can use the different ones for different things until you get a little bit fitter and that becomes an easy run pace. But also, like, I think I love Strava for some things, but I think for some of it like this, it's basically your ego that cares. Because like, I think people think everyone sits there going, oh my God, look at what they ran today. I'm like, literally no one cares like how fast you ran or like what you did. They like looking at the pictures. They like looking at a stupid title. So hone in on that and
yeah, or a route someone's done or something like that. Like no one, I think no one cares as much as you think they care. Like I don't think I've ever really scrolled through and looked at someone's pace. I more look like where people are running.
Exactly. Except if they've done a race, then I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like you smashed your rep. Like that's when you want to be like showing off and being like, look, I was fast.
Yeah. Which is probably the people that are going to be showing off and being fast and winning the races are the ones that are actually doing their easy runs easy, not injured, get to the start line and have put the effort in the ones that count. Yeah.
So no, slow it down.
Yeah, no, I saw the post the other day, so I just wanted your take on it because it is so true. And I think coming from someone with the running career that you've had and the paces you've put down, if you're saying run your easy, run slow, then I think people can listen to that for sure. Faye, was there anything else you wanted to ask or that I've missed before we ask the closing question?
No, I think the only thing I was wondering was if a few people are, you've obviously done a lot of different races, different distances. If a few people are thinking about getting into more, more running races, whether it's marathons, ultras, half marathons, is there any that you'd say people should put on a bucket list? Like I know Comrades is something that everyone says like should be on a bucket list, and definitely something that like both of us would love to do one day because it just looks epic. But any races that you would say these are bucket list races that people should think about? Or?
Some of my favorite races, 10K, it's called the Knacker Cracker. It's on New Year's Day in Box Hill, and it's completely ridiculous. There's like a little guy that wears Union Jack shorts and you sing the national anthem, and then it's like a brutal 10K, and at the end you get a carrot. Like I love how shit it is. So that's my 10K one. So my favorite marathon's actually Snowdon Marathon, and it goes around the mountain, which is, it's so cool. It's so difficult to get into this race. I think it sells out in like 3 minutes. The last time I entered it, they're a bit savage. I think they opened the entries at like midnight on New Year's Eve, which I quite like that unhingedness of that.
Yeah, you got to be on it then.
Yeah. But it's like a really cool, like hard race, but like your time is pretty irrelevant because it's quite a hilly marathon, but something a little bit different. And then Two Oceans, it's 56K in Cape Town, is one of the most beautiful runs like you'll ever do. At like sunrise, you end up coming up and over this road called Chapman's Peak, which you're like on a cliff edge over the sea, and there's normally like dolphins in the sea, and it's beautiful. And it by lunchtime everyone's finished and everyone goes, because there's a cutoff. Everyone kind of goes to the after party in the afternoon, like at the pub down the road, and yeah, it's quality. Like that's so much fun. And then Comrades, just because yeah, there's no race like Comrades. For 90 kilometers, there's people lining the streets. They're going mental. Like, yeah, you've just got no idea. Like, you stand at the start line and you get goosebumps and you cry crossing the finish line. And you go through like every emotion during that race. Like, you're queen of the world, you hate yourself, you're quitting running, you're doing it again in the period of a day. So, yeah, I
And
think
have you done both? It changes direction, is it?
Yeah, so 1 year it goes from Pietermaritzburg to Durban, which is mainly downhill, and then the next year it goes from Durban to Pietermaritzburg, which is mainly uphill. But the down has still got like 1,200 meters of climbing, and the up has still got like over 1,000 meters of descending. So
Which way do you prefer to go?
I prefer down. Like the up is mentally harder. You're basically just looking up a hill all day, where the down is physically harder. And I'm like, I'll just suck it up, that it'll hurt.
Crazy.
Oh, so good. So
Yeah.
good.
Good
Yeah,
question.
no, that's I just wonder because you've done obviously so many different races.
Mm.
It's cool to hear like firsthand, especially like different ones that you've never heard of, like that Box Hill
Yeah.
race sounds hilarious.
So good. So good. And you have to wear a fancy dress, otherwise you look like an idiot. So just even if you put tinsel in your hair, just do
Just
something.
do something.
Okay, and then finally then the last question would be, what message or advice would you give to your younger self or the next generation of girls coming up?
I think just do something that you really enjoy. Kind of what I said earlier, like there's loads of different distances, there's loads of different disciplines, especially when it comes to running, of things that you can do. So if you find that actually the road's boring, get on the trails. If you find the trails too technical, get on the roads. Like just experiment and play around. Like I kind of fell into the distances that I was good in by doing that, just like messing about a bit, trying different things, having fun. And yeah, if you can find yourself a little girl gang, then even better. And if anyone wants to join my girl gang in Cape Town, please, because I've got too many boys in it.
Come and join.
Yeah. And I meant to ask actually, do you still, I mean, I saw that you cycled when you got injured, but do you still do any swimming or cycling from the triathlon days, or no?
I don't swim because it's boring, but I did actually, after cycling a bit in like May, June this year, I got a bike, and now I cycle once a week on a Friday because it's called Friday Pastry Club. So we cycle to a place called Hout Bay. We have almond croissants and we cycle home. I literally bought the world's most expensive bike purely to do this once a week, which is like slightly unhinged.
So, actually, to be fair, you got a Bianchi, didn't you? Bike, that's like my favorite bike of all time.
Yeah, and I'm like, what? They lent
Such
me
a good
that
bike.
before. It's like one of the most expensive bikes. They're like, how often are you going to ride it? I'm like, once a week to Pastry Club.
Yeah,
Like,
for my
it
almond
must be
croissant.
expensive for that. I was like, you've given me a nice shiny green sparkly bike. I can't like backslide to a shit one.
Oh man, but
God,
I
so good.
I know because you've just raised that, but like on that point, just before we wrap up, you managed to keep your fitness using like by riding a bike when you couldn't actually run, didn't you?
Yeah.
So for cross training riders or anyone at the moment that maybe has an injury, is using ergs in the gym or bike riding, it isn't, you get injured, you can't run. There are other alternatives to help you keep that fitness.
Yeah, and I think it's also not being very short-sighted and being like, oh my God, I'm injured now, not being able to run for 2 weeks, I'm gonna like derail everything and I'm not gonna be able to race. It's about everything you've done before. It's going back to that consistency thing and taking your time. You're like, I've actually I've run for 2 years. Like I've been consistent every week for 2 years. That's what's making the difference, not this like little 2 week period that I'm in. But yes, to keep your fitness up if you can't run, there are so many things that you can do. And I basically, yeah, cycled and aqua jogged. Like aqua jogging is really good for you. It's just very boring. And the thing with cycling, with the cross training, when you're not running, you do have to do a bit more volume to kind of mimic the amount that you're doing. Just if you just think about it, like when you cycle, you're freewheeling down the hill. So for like maybe 20 minutes of an hour ride, you're not actually moving. So just kind of think about that. But yeah, don't also worry about that short period of time. It's about everything else before. And if you can, you're mainly cross training to like stop yourself going mental. Because it's boring. But there is also loads of things you can do. And like I say to anyone, as soon as you've got an injury, just ask your physio, your bio, your chiro, whoever you're seeing, like, what can you do?
Yeah.
Like ask what exercises you are allowed to do, and then you just do that instead for a little bit whilst you're doing your rehab. But you need to be doing the rehab when you've got an injury. You need to figure out what the reason was behind it, because if you don't fix that, yes, the rest might help for a little bit, but you're just going to go back through the same cycle. So find the problem, fix it whilst doing something else to stop you going mad.
Yeah, perfect. And then for anyone who would maybe be interested in finding out a bit more about SCY and your app, etc., or anything else that you have to offer, do you want to share where to find you, how to sign up, etc., etc.?
Yep, you can find me on Instagram, just Carla Molinaro. My website, carlamolinaro.com, Strava, Carla Molinaro. You can see my slow runs. And then, yeah, SCY for Runners is my Running for Strength program. And then on Final Surge, if people are looking for programs, I've written a whole load of training programs from a base 8-week program, 5K, all the way up to 90. So there's programs there as well.
Keep people occupied for the next like 10 years.
Yeah. Work your way through them.
Yeah. Start at 10K, end at 90. There you go. Oh no, that's perfect. Thank you so much for your time, knowledge, advice, everything. We really appreciate it, and you are an epic runner.
Yeah, and for sharing everything you share on Instagram as well. It's like you do it all with some good humor and some great tips at the same time. So I would really encourage anyone to go over and yeah, follow you on Instagram, because I do love it when you put a story up.
Good luck in the 100-miler. We'll be watching. Fingers crossed it goes well. And thank you everyone for listening. We will see you on the next episode.
Bye.